When OP's partner goes out for dinner and drinks with a friend, they end up going home with two guys, which naturally results in OP's partner cheating on him. But what does this mean for the future of their relationship? To find out how this story ends, get yourself a coffee and grab a bowl of popcorn so we can get into it.
My wife's 23 and I'm 22, and we've been together for 7 years, and out of those years, we've been married for 3. We were high school sweethearts, and before anyone asks, we're Christians, so that's why we got married so young. Anyway, both of us have had crappy childhoods, and kind of bonded over that as we dated. Long story short, though, I moved out and left my family behind due to them not approving my wife on account of her race and other things.
I immediately regret the decision!
After that, I had no one but her. She was the first and only person I'd ever been with, and it was the same thing for her. All we had was each other. Fast forward to this past year, and it had been very difficult for us. With both of us in college full-time and working, we barely had time for each other, and the time we did get to spend together, we fought or simply just didn't have fun. It seemed like our marriage was kind of falling apart. We even had counseling and met up with other married people so we could get advice, and after that, we started doing well. Unfortunately, though, life happened, and we got busy and fell into a rut. Throughout our relationship, we both questioned whether our relationship was going to work, and finally last week, we sat down and asked ourselves, is this worth it? Putting in more work and sacrificing for each other? I told her that I couldn't do this for 7 more years, wondering if we're right for each other. Granted, I love her with all my heart, and she loves me too. At least that's what I thought. Her friend, Amy, who's someone I don't trust, came back into town and invited my wife out for dinner and drinks.
I can already tell this is not going to be fun.
This was normal for them, but I'm not one for going out drinking as I think it's a waste of money, unless it's like a birthday or something. Anyway, I normally stay home and she goes out by herself and I tell her the same thing every time. Stay safe. Then I go on with my night and go to bed. I usually wake up with her not being next to me, so her not being there is not out of the ordinary. And if she's not there, it normally means she stayed at her friend's house because she had too much to drink and didn't want to drive. Which is fine. I hear her come through the front door, and just by looking at her, I could tell that something was off. So I asked if she was okay, and she said, no. Trying to comfort her, I ask, what's wrong? She stumbled all over her words and couldn't look me in the eye, so I definitely knew something was wrong. She admitted that she made out with another guy.
Of course she did.
And I was completely caught off guard. She isn't the type of person to do something like this, as she doesn't flirt or anything like that, so I didn't know what to say. I was curious, so I asked her what happened. She told me that after going to the bar, they went back to Amy's place, and then Amy and her new guy friend went off to have sex. While this was going on, my wife and the guy she brought back sat on the sofa. At first, she made it sound like he came onto her, forcing her to kiss him, but then she said that after he kissed her, she pulled back, then came in for another, and that's when they started making out. Before I could say anything, she claimed that he put his arm around her and was making comments. In response, she said, I'm in a relationship. She didn't say, I'm married. And my heart just exploded, because to me, that was a clear sign of her wanting more. She said that she didn't have sex with him, and I believe her, but I also believed that she wouldn't have kissed another guy. The 2 things that are the most important to me are loyalty and affection, and I can't be with someone I don't trust 100%. I love her, but I need someone who has my back. I've asked people around me, and people say the typical, anything's salvageable, or some other crappy saying, so I guess I'm asking, what should I do? Is this considered cheating? Is this grounds for divorce? Is the marriage worth saving, or can it be saved? Please help me.
First things first. Of course it's cheating. I will never understand why people question if something's cheating when it so obviously is, and if I had to guess, I would wager that kissing isn't the only thing OP's partner and this other guy did. It's not normal for people to go out, bring someone home and not hook up, provided that someone didn't pass out due to drinking too much. In any case, even if OP's partner didn't go all the way, she cheated on OP and demonstrated that she's not someone who can be trusted. While I don't think that salvaging a relationship after cheating has occurred is worth doing, maybe the people on Reddit disagree with me.
Taiwan Bandit says, "Sorry, OP, but this is cheating, and they did more than make out. They had sex, which is why she came home the way she did. She was guilty. Adults don't just make out, they have sex. They went to her house and she could have called it off and took an Uber or Lyft home to you, but she went back with them instead. You were already having a challenging time in your marriage, and she crossed your boundaries. Go through her phone and you might get the evidence you need. Can you work through this? Maybe, but I think you both got married too soon and problems will continue between you." Maleficent Day says, "It's called Trickle Truth Man. She gives you just enough that it looks bad, but it's not the whole truth of what happened. Kissing equals oral, make out equals sex, one time equals multiple times, and a few times equals a long time. Don't take her confession for the whole truth. The bottom line is she cheated. She wanted it, she allowed it to happen, and invited it. However, if all she did was make out, and she confessed it right away of her own volition, I guess she does feel guilty for her actions. Most cheaters only confess when they get confronted, and it's easier to reconcile when they confess on their own, but it's still super hard. If you want to reconcile, actions need to have consequences. She needs to cut out the friend who's obviously a terrible influence, and you need therapy, both individually and marital. I would have her confess what she's done to her parents and close friends to bring accountability and openness. And confession is good for the soul. I would make her sleep in another room, and not allow any more nights out or alcohol as she can't be trusted now. She's not single, and she needs to act like she's not single." Archangel says, "I'm usually one to advocate for zero tolerance for cheating, but in this case, I'm going to suggest a different approach. Firstly, let's address what happened. She was supposedly going out to dinner and drinks with her friend, and she ended up at her friend's place with another man. So how did that happen? Either the dinner was arranged to be a double date and the men were there from the start, or they were at the bar and they picked the guys up. Either way, your wife made the decision to go to her friend's place with the two guys in tow. What did she think would happen? She deliberately put herself in a situation where she would cheat. So the question is, why? Has she checked out of the marriage? If she has, then what you want to do is a moot point. If she still wants to work on the marriage, she needs to be able to explain why she cheated, which normally involves individual counseling. From your perspective, you both have to decide if you can forgive this instance of cheating, and whether you also want to keep working on your marriage. You'll need to have all the details of what happened, which includes if, as others have indicated is most likely, she had sex with this guy. You'll also need to decide if you see her as a long-term partner. From the way you've described it, you guys have been acting like roommates rather than a married couple. I think only couples counseling will help you determine if there's still a connection there for you to salvage, or if you're better off ending things. If you decide to work things out, she of course has to cut out this friend, and she can't keep acting single and going out by herself. You'll also need to compromise and do some things with her that she prefers to do. Anyway, however you guys decide to resolve this, I wish you all the best."
While this last comment was pretty good advice, personally, I'd rather not have to deal with doubting my partner for the rest of our relationship. Seeing as OP is still young, I would suggest finding someone else, someone he can put his trust in, and hopefully, someone who won't lie to him and stab him in the back. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Coffee and Popcorn, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.